Senior Moments, sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Good morning. This is the Senior Moments Show. I am your host, Sid Roeder. Bryce is out today. And we have a fun show planned for you with Tyler Vanderbeek. He is a financial advisor with Connect Financial Advisors. Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good. Good to have you here today. We'll dive into what you do and why you do what you do in a minute, but let me first introduce our sponsor, which is the Empowering Seniors Group. The Empowering Seniors Group is a group of professionals that has dedicated their time and effort to provide information to seniors, family members, and really all those listeners that hear us every Saturday. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors Group, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniors.cv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. And lastly, if you have any suggestions for our show, anyone you would like to see us invite, you can call me personally at 435-512-6406. Well, Tyler, let's dive into it a little bit. Maybe you can give our listeners a background and tell us why you do what you do.
Perfect. Thanks. So it is hard to believe that I've been doing financial services now 22 years. It's gone by pretty fast. So started in 2002. And then about in 2006, I became a CFP, which stands for Certified Financial Planner. And after that, started a new partnership in 2011. And just decided over those years that I wanted to do a little more in-depth training and education on my passion for stock markets and trend analysis and such. So became what's called a CMT, which we were talking earlier, that stands for Chartered Market Technician. So I'm the geek that loves to watch stock charts and look at the markets more than the average person. So then I formed Connect Financial Advisors about 3 years ago, and because I wanted to put my skills out there as a portfolio manager and institutional style management, if that makes sense.
Awesome. And you are a local of Cache Valley?
Yep. Born and raised here, only left for a little bit and back, and just living in Providence right now. Offices around the valley, and enjoy it here.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tyler. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about some of the most common investment products that are out there.
Yeah, good question. I kind of broke it down into like 4 common main ones that most people do with nowadays. So we're probably all familiar with traditional stocks. So we're talking like Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, all those, which become more popular and more available to the retail investor, if you will. With trading vehicles available and such. But
so I'm going to interrupt you here. Retail investor, you're going to have to explain that one to our listeners.
Good question. So I call a retail investor someone that really wants to do it on their own. And it's not hiring a professional like me or a financial advisor to do it, or an institution. So retail versus, quote, professional. So whatever professional means, right? So our individual stocks, which a lot of people are familiar with those. Then we go into like individual bonds. But nowadays, most people want that diversification, which is still a very prudent form of investing. Then we go into number 3, which is a mutual fund. Probably familiar with those. They've been around for a long, long time. Mutual fund is a diversified portfolio of either individual stocks, all made up into one portfolio, or mixture of stocks and bonds, all wrapped up into one little package that you can buy on the exchanges. 4th one, which is the most popular and most innovative nowadays, is an ETF. You know what an ETF is?
I don't.
Perfect. It's education time. So, yes. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund, which is basically an upgraded version of a mutual fund. So less cost, there's more transparency, liquidity. You can trade them all day, every day if you want. But the main one is there's all these strategies that we'll get into a little bit later that are available in ETF formats now that were only available to institutions in years past.
Wow, that's interesting. So one quick question, just because when I'm thinking about investments, I know that some people still just want to dabble with it a little bit. I mean, is that something where you can advise them to find things themselves, or do you do smaller investments? How does that work?
Yeah, no, good question. We definitely do. I mean, my whole foundation is based on educating clients to understand what their potential is, or the risks versus rewards in any type of investment. So definitely anyone that has a small account, big account, we can help them understand what would be the best route for them to go in the future for their investment goals.
So let me ask you this then. I mean, I know it's never too late to maybe think about improving your financial situation. What's your process if you maybe have a senior or anyone else who's interested that wants to assess their situation? How do they get in touch with you? What's your process?
Perfect. Yeah. So what we offer is just a free consultation for anyone that wants to come in and have us look at their portfolio if they're already doing something, to kind of give them the pros and cons of what they're doing currently. If they're looking for a retirement income plan, if you've heard of those, which are, in my opinion, a very vital piece of a portfolio or a strategy, meaning you have a written plan, how much you got to save, what it could grow to in retirement at a certain age, and then how much you can pull off of that investment pool to live off of, in retirement. So what we do is let clients, anyone come in, bring a statement, any of your financial situation, your numbers, accounts that you have questions on, and we can analyze it for you and then determine together, are we a good fit to work going forward, or okay, it was a good visit, go on your way.
That sounds fair enough. So let's really, before we get into our first break, do you want to talk about some alternative investments that are possible?
Yes, I love alternatives. So let's describe that. Alternatives first. Alternative investing, in my opinion, and according to some definitions, is anything that's outside of the normal scope of stocks and bonds, or that require a positive market or positive economy to earn a positive return. Whew, that was a lot. So meaning alternative investment could be something that goes the opposite of the stock market. So if markets are going down, this one could be going up, or vice versa. Alternatives are thrown in as real estate. You could maybe throw in commodities, or gold and silver is kind of a generic bucket. But private credit, private equity, a lot of those, these are what the big institutions do. Okay, so we'll get into that here after our break. I think that what institutions like Harvard and Yale do, we can do the same things nowadays. So it's quite fascinating. But so it's kind of a lot. Long short funds, structured notes. There's so many things out there that are available now that weren't even 3 or 4 years ago. So I love my job more now today than I did, 5-10 years ago.
That sounds exciting, and sounds like we might fill the whole next segment with that. Again, this is the Senior Moments Show. I would like to mention our sponsor one more time, which is the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniors.cv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. And again, lastly, if you have any questions, any comments for the show, you can call me personally at 435-512-6406. We'll take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Need a helping hand? The Bear River Association of Governments, also known as BRAG, is here for you.
They assist seniors with in-home services, provide utility bill relief through the HEAT program, and offer rental assistance to keep you housed.
Need help with tax prep? Their experts ensure you get the refund you deserve. And for veterans, they're here to connect you with the benefits you've earned.
BRAG is your local resource for a stronger today and a more secure future. Call today or visit brag.utah.gov.
This is Mark Thurston with White Pine Funeral Services. The best time to plan is when you have time to plan. Having a pre-arranged funeral gives peace of mind for everyone involved. White Pine will customize your final wishes to fit your needs, from a traditional burial to cremation to a custom headstone. White Pine also accepts pre-arranged plans from other mortuaries, and we will absorb any transfer or revocation fees. No penalty to you. Visit whitepinefunerals.com or come and see us for more information.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most. Did you know 1 in 3 people will visit a nursing home? Did you know that once there, they will stay there for an average of 3 years? Did you also know there are insurance options that can help cover this experience? Hi, I'm Tracy Ferris with Blue Water Health Insurance. It's not cheap to stay in a full-fledged nursing home. Long-term care insurance can help you or a loved one get the care they need and deserve. If you wait until you need it, you may be too late. Give me a call at 435-890-8155.
Hi, this is Bruce with Comfort Care. One of the ways we help loved ones stay in their home is by assisting with daily tasks. These may include bathing, meal preparation, medication reminders, and housekeeping. We even help with shopping, transportation, and errands. Most of all, we offer a trusted level of care. Let us help you live your best life possible with Comfort Care. This is Bruce, and you can call me at 754-7676. Comfort Care, 754-7676.
This is Scott Robinson, owner of Cache Valley Pharmacy. At Cache Valley Pharmacy, we offer so many services, from free delivery to custom packaging. We pride ourselves in our compounding. We love it so much that we've partnered with Focus Pharmacology, Cache Valley's own premier supplement line, and we're throwing in a free bottle of supplements with every new custom compound prescription. You heard me right, a free bottle with every new compounded prescription. So when your doctor asks where you want your prescription sent, tell them Cache Valley Pharmacy. Cache Valley Pharmacy, keeping it local, online at cachevalleypharmacy.com.
And welcome back. This is the Senior Moment Show. I'm your host, Sid Roeder, visiting today with Tyler Vanderbeek with Connect Financial Advisors. And we've been talking about investment strategies and all kinds of interesting things that I can't remember the names for. And I totally spaced to allow you to have your contact information out there, Tyler.
Perfect. So you can find me at connectfinancialadvisors.com. Tyler at connectfinancialadvisors.com is my email. Phone number is 435-713-4220.
Awesome. Thank you. And before we went into the break, we talked about some alternative investments, and you mentioned Harvard and Yale. Mm-hmm. And I was curious, what does that mean?
Yeah, so I think this is kind of the foundation where I started to get to more of the institutional investing ideas ingrained in me, and where I then went through that CMT Chartered Market Technician course. Because what I had been taught back in the days was Harvard and Yale invest their money different than what I was taught when I first started in the industry, meaning they're not just doing traditional stocks and bonds or mutual funds. They've got a lot of alternative investments in their portfolios because they're pretty adamant about preserving as much capital as possible. So when we get into recessionary times, their portfolios typically in the past haven't dropped as much or at all as the markets. When I say the markets, like S&P 500 or such. So I really wanted to understand what are they doing differently, and how can I bring that to, quote, the retail investor or our clients nowadays. So that's where we're at now.
Wow, that sounds intriguing. And then maybe one question would be, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about investments?
Oh, yeah, very good question. I think one of them that comes to mind right off the bat is that people think maybe it's too risky, which it can be. And that's where it comes into the educational aspect of it, is understanding what the risks are and how to diversify your portfolio. Because I think one of the biggest mistakes, I guess we jump into the next topic maybe, is thinking that everything is always going to be good, which we always hope that. We want to be as optimistic as possible. But at the same time, we need to analyze what's the worst thing that could happen, and are we prepared for that? I think that's where it really stands to differ, that if we know, okay, this piece of the portfolio, if it goes bankrupt, which hopefully never does, then we're not going to blow up the whole account and lose all of our money, right? So the old idea of diversification still comes into play. But how we diversify nowadays is different than it was, 5-10 years ago.
So when you're talking about diversification beyond just stocks and bonds, what does that mean?
Okay, yep, good question. So that's where we throw in now a mix of those alternatives, which again, it's a pretty broad term. So our portfolios that we look at, we've got some stocks in there, we got some bonds depending on the client, but we have this piece of alternatives that could be upwards of maybe 15-20% of their account. It just depends. And that way, his studies have shown, and of course, going back to the Harvard and Yale story, is that it's usually a more stable path to get to your retirement goals than the big ups and downs that we see in just stock investing.
So if someone is listening, what are some of the recommendations you have for investors to better protect their wealth in a volatile market?
Oh, yes. This is where it gets really fascinating. Over the past 3 or 4 years that there's been new investment products come out that will have some downside buffers or protections in place for clients that are a little more on the risk averse side. That they say, okay, if the markets go down so much in a given time period, you're not going to lose any money nowadays. It's just unheard of, 5 years ago. But nowadays we can do it. And then on the flip side, if the markets are positive up to certain levels, they can capture those gains as well. So those are the most popular investment strategies for those clients that are more risk averse or that are near or already in retirement. I've seen over my career that those are the most crucial times in their retirement years is 5 years before and 5 years after retirement. If they lose a lot of money in that time frame, it's really, really hard to make it back up. And it can really derail your retirement plan. So having institutional strategies, alternatives in the portfolio can really help smooth that bumpy road.
So I'm a little curious, when you do handle seniors with that, do you find that seniors come in and you completely change what they've done over their working lifetime, or how often does that happen?
Boy, yeah, that one, it does change more often than not. Again, coming back to, they've typically been maybe in a 401k plan where they've had very limited choices available to them in the first place. They're more traditional. It's rare that I see a 401k plan that has alternatives available to the client. So yes, typically when they come in, it's a full revamp, full reallocation, but it is always based on their investment objective. If they're still, or if they want to switch now from growth to conservative, we can do that. My whole mantra is we want to be on the same page. So if they're the conservative investor, we're going to keep it conservative, maybe in a different fashion, but we're going to do it. Same on the growth.
So maybe one question I'm thinking about is there anything you don't do?
Anything I don't do? Yes, I don't do variable annuities. We'll talk about annuities here in a bit. They are annuities, real quick, is an idea that there's different types of annuities, by the way, but variable, it just follows the markets. You can pick and choose your investments. There's usually higher fees associated with them. I don't see much benefit, to be honest, most of the time. So that's probably one of them that I don't do. Well, yeah, let's put it that way, I've never done one of those.
Thank you. What about some of those other annuities you were talking about, Tyler?
Oh, yes. So there are other annuities that I do like better, obviously, than the variable annuity. So real quick, a fixed annuity is basically a guaranteed contract with an insurance company, as long as the insurance company doesn't go bankrupt. And they usually, will protect 100% on the downside too and give you some upside. That one, actually, the fixed annuities will typically just pay you a given rate, kind of like a CD. Think of it that way. CD with an insurance company. It's got terms with it. The next one that's more popular amongst seniors or the risk averse is a fixed indexed annuity, which again protects on the downside 100%, and then it gives you some of the upside. There's typically a cap or a participation rate, all these little nuances to figure out how the product works. So there are some good to annuities, and I believe they can be a piece of a client's portfolio if it matches their investment objective too.
Thank you, Tyler. We are at our second break right now. So again, this is the Senior Moments Show. If you would like to learn more about our sponsor, which is the Empowering Seniors Group, you can find them online at empoweringseniors.info. We're going to take a short break right now. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Tyler's contact information.
Getting around your home should be easy and safe. At RT Med Mobile, they provide wheelchairs, stair lifts, ramps, and electric lift chairs to help seniors maintain independence and comfort. Their friendly team offers free in-home consultations to find the perfect solution for you or your loved one. Locally owned and here to help. Call 435-260-6171 today. RT Med Mobile, because your mobility matters.
You have a lot of options when it comes to buying or selling a home. Do you list it online, sell it yourself, or do you have a realtor help? It's a major financial and emotional decision. A realtor is the liaison between buyers and sellers and really helps you navigate complex contracts, deadlines, and disclosures.
Hi, this is Sid Roeder with Achievement Realty. I work for you to get the best outcome for your situation. Let me earn your trust with a free consultation and a free market analysis. Call me today at 512-6406. Then list it, sell it, and move on.
It's tough knowing how to care for an aging parent. Mom has always been there for me, but now I need to be there for her. When we found out she needed surgery, I wondered how I could attend to her needs and still be mom to my kids. I was so relieved to learn about transitional rehab at Maple Springs in North Logan. From the nurses to the physical therapists, it was like their whole staff was focused on helping Mom get better. Maple Springs in North Logan was an answer to my prayers.
Learn more at maplespringsnorthlogan.com or call 753-9400.
Are you tired of feeling unwell and not knowing why? At Next Level Health and Wellness, we hear you. We specialize in uncovering the root causes of your discomfort, whether it's gut health, hormone imbalances, or emotional and mental blocks. With personalized plans, advanced lab testing, and evidence-based holistic nutrition practices, we guide you toward lasting health and wholeness. Awaken your healing potential with a team that listens, understands, and supports you wherever you are. Visit nextlevelhw.com to start your journey to feeling better today.
Welcome back. This is the Senior Moment Show. I'm your host, Sid Roederer, visiting today with Tyler Vanderbeek with Connect Financial Advisors here in Cache Valley. Welcome back, Tyler.
Thank you. Welcome to you.
We've talked about some interesting things when it comes to investment. And what are maybe some of the common mistakes you see people make when it comes to investments?
Oh, good question there, too. The first thing that comes to my mind is over-allocating. And so if they're really highly convicted that a certain stock or an investment will do well for them, whether it's based on their own intuition or they've read it online on Reddit or something, they'll put way too much money into it, in my opinion, or that's usually the case. And then when it doesn't work, if it doesn't, I shouldn't say when, if it doesn't work, then they've lost all their working capital, and it's really hard to get it back, unless you're young and working, right? Then you can take that risk. But for most elderly clients and risk averse, diversification still is a very key factor. Second one, FOMO. Who's heard of that term, right?
Yes, I have heard that.
FOMO, fear of missing out. So it goes on both sides of it. The fear of missing out on gains on the upside. So as the whole society hears on the news that the stocks are doing great or a particular investment, maybe it's Bitcoin or something, then everybody wants to get in on that bandwagon, right? They want to ride it. Usually what happens, what I've seen in my career, is that by the time most clients learn about it, it's too late or it's at the end of the run. So that's one to be careful of. I wouldn't object to people investing in it, but again, keeping that allocation properly in check, that they're not going to lose everything on it.
That actually brings me to a question, Tyler. How does that work on your end? Do you keep an eye on things and then contact clients in saying it might be advisable to maybe sell some of these items right now?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that yet, of how it works. Huh? This is what really makes my job wonderful, I guess, and how we can help so many people at the same time. So when a client becomes a client, they give us what's called full discretion. So we are fiduciaries, meaning we do what's in the best interest of the client over ours. We don't collect any commissions. It's all fee-based. So when we make changes in the client's accounts, they have already told us and given us authority to say, hey, Tyler, you and your crew do what you feel is in our best interest, then we'll review later. So if I'm watching the stocks and I say XYZ stock needs to be sold and we're going to buy ABC stock, everybody gets traded at the same day, same time, same price, and there's no cost to do it. So that's where we get back to the fiduciary, making sure everyone's fair. And again, coming back full circle, the starting out, if you got $1,000, $10,000, or $10 million, it doesn't matter that particular trade. Everybody's done at the same price to make it fair.
That's perfect. And that actually, before it gets forgotten again, this is probably a good time for you to mention your website again and your phone number.
Perfect. So connectfinancialadvisors.com. And our phone number is 435-713-4220. Or you can email me, Tyler, at connectfinancialadvisors.com.
Thank you. And we talked a little bit during the break also on what techniques you use to safeguard your clients. And I noted here that you were talking about a technical analysis that you do. And that brings us to market predictions. That's a little, do you want to say something on that?
Yeah. So, that's always the biggest conversational piece when clients come in is, we used to have a crystal ball in our conference room table. Just making the point that, do you see anything in that crystal ball? No, neither do we. So the definition, and I copied and pasted this from the CMT's website, says a method that uses historical price and volume data along with charts and indicators to predict future price movements by identifying patterns and trends. Whew, that's a lot. So when we talk about predicting, right, it's impossible to predict the markets. But the whole mantra between the CMT is that it could possibly give you a higher probability of success, either if the markets are trending up or trending down. The idea behind technical analysis is that you can recognize that trend and then allocate and diversify the portfolio according to that trend that's happening currently.
Okay, that's great. And as we are marching towards the end of our show here, maybe let me just ask this. What's one piece of advice you'd give someone who's just starting to invest?
Just that, start. Start yesterday. So I put down the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time, today, right? So just looking at myself, I remember a story that I wanted to buy a snowmobile when I was a teenager. And my father actually then did the math. He said, okay, if you buy that snowmobile and then in 10, 20, 30 years from now, here's what that money could grow to. So are you willing to buy the snowmobile at that, quote, price today when you can have that investment grow for the next 20, 30 years? So real quick, just to give you some numbers, if you start at age 25, saving $500 a month for the next 40 years, you'd have around $1.75 million. If you waited until you're just 35, so only 10 years later, for that next 30 years, so retiring at 65, you'd only have $745,000. That's $1 million difference from just starting 10 years earlier. If you wanted to then try to get that same 1.75 in retirement, you'd have to jump to $1,200 a month instead of $500 a month. So start now if you haven't.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Thank you for coming in and giving us some financial education today. This is the Senior Moments Show. We are at the end of our show, and so we hope you tune in again next week.